Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.
So I will call to order the meeting of the Neenah City Common Council for May 6th, 2020. Of course, due to the public health emergency, which is caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting will occur at virtual locations accessed by the link below or a conference call. Committee members and the public have the link to use. There is an opportunity. City Hall is open. The doors are unlocked, so if there are members of the public who wish to join this meeting, they could come into the council chambers. I would note there are no members, no individuals in the council chambers at this time. So with that, all the proper notices have been given, and I would ask Stephanie to please do the roll call for the common council members, please.
All right, Alderperson Lundgren. Here. Steele. Alderperson Steele here.
Oops. Danielle.
We lose her.
She's
Danae.
muted.
It's Danae.
Danae. She was here.
Yeah, her mic is muted.
As is her camera.
I counted
We will
9
give her-
aldermen.
Second to get back on, and I'll just keep going. Alderperson Boyette.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Bates.
Here.
Coons.
Here.
Lang.
Here.
Stevenson.
Here.
Spellman.
Here.
And did Danae get back on?
Here. Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Wonderful.
good. All right. Just of course, for the record, you know we have some department staff members here. I see Police Chief Olson is here, Fire Chief Clone, Tony Mock, our Water Director, Chris Hayes, our Community Development Director, along with Jerry Kaiser, Public Works Department, and Mike Easker, our Finance Director. Those staff members are also present along with some members of the public. The next item of business, pardon me, and Jim Godleski, I'm sorry, Jim Godleski, our city attorney, and also our Adam Westbrook, our deputy city attorney, your assistant.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. So those are everyone who's available right now. So item number 2, then the roll call has been taken. All members are present. We have a quorum. Item number 2 is the introduction and confirmation of mayor's appointments. Item number A is Mayor Crawford's appointment to fill the expired term of Kevin McCann on the Neenah Menasha Joint Fire Commission. This term will expire May 2022, and I am recommending Kevin McCann be reappointed. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the mayor's appointment of Kevin McCann.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Stevenson, seconded by Alderman Bates. Is there any discussion? All in favor? signify by saying, or I'm sorry, we're going to do a motion to confirm after at the end here. So, so that motion, Jim, can we do two motions or should we do these separate?
It could be one motion to approve all appointments.
Okay. The other motion then is Mayor Crawford's appointment of Kim Skorlinski to fill the expired term on the Police Commission. This is a new term that'll expire May 2024, and I am recommending Kim Skorlinski. So if I can restate the motion, Alderman Stevenson, to approve those two.
Yes, I'll move to amend my motion to, or I'll modify my motion, I should say, to confirm the appointment of Kevin McCann to the International Joint Fire and Kim Skorlinski to the Police Commission.
Second.
And that's also okay with the second. So that's, there's a motion and a second. Is any discussion on either of those appointments? They're both doing a really great job for their respective commissions. I'd ask unanimous consent. Is there any objection to those appointments? Any objection? Seeing no objection, that's so ordered. And they'll be sworn in. The clerk will send them their proper documents. Item number 3 is approval of the council proceedings of March 18th, 2020 and April 21, 2020 regular sessions. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Lenram, seconded by Alderman Erickson. Is there any discussion, corrections, additions, or comments on those minutes? Seeing none. Is there any objection to unanimous consent to accept those two council proceedings? Any objection? Seeing none, that's so ordered. Public hearings, there are none. Plan Commission reports and public service reports pertaining to the public hearing, there will be none tonight. Item number 6 is the public forum. The public forum is an opportunity for any member of the community to come to the meeting or visit us virtually and speak at any topic that they would like. All we do is we ask that you give your name and your address just so the clerk has it for the record. So I will open the public forum, and we ask that you try to keep your comments under 5 minutes, and that's a long time to speak. So is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak to the Common Council on any topic at this time? Just identify yourself and give your address. Any member from the public?
Yep, I would like to speak.
Go ahead.
This is Sarah Kosmicki. I live at 4 Armstrong Street in the town of Neenah.
Okay.
And so I attended virtually the Board of Public Works meeting a week or so ago and spoke on the open forum there. And I think probably most of you were there. It's hard for me without seeing you to know who is all there at that meeting and who's all at this meeting. But I'll just quickly reiterate what I said at that meeting. I wanted to talk about the city's plan to annex a lot on Armstrong Street and to extend Shooting Star and to pave Armstrong. The residents on Armstrong Street have opposed this plan, as we have for years. And there's 3 main reasons why I think that this should not go through. The first one is because Armstrong Street is a private road. The ownership of the road is determined by the maintenance, and the residents of Armstrong have done all of the maintenance on the road. And the city, in fact, is an owner of a lot on Armstrong Street and acknowledges that we pay privately for the maintenance of the road because the city has to pay for the maintenance of their share of Armstrong Street. It's not up here on the Wisconsin DOT map, so it's a private road. So therefore, it shouldn't be annexed as a town road. Second of all, the land has restrictive covenants on it. So when the city bought Lot 5 on Armstrong Street, they have to abide by the restrictive covenants on that lot. And the restrictive covenants say that the lot can only be used for residential purposes. And we don't think that putting a road on a lot constitutes a residential purpose. And then the third reason is the boundary agreement, that the city of Neenah and the town of Neenah have a boundary agreement. And Armstrong Street, the area that the city is looking to annex, does not fall within the city growth area. Armstrong Street falls in the city services area, which means that if any of the residents on Armstrong Street were requesting city services such as water or sewer, we would be required to annex into the city, but that's not the case. So because we don't fall in a growth area but a city services area, we should not be able to be annexed. So those are the three basic reasons: the restrictive covenants, the fact that the road is private, and the boundary agreement. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to address us. Anyone else like to address the council?
Yes, I would. Bernice Meyer, 116 Armstrong Street, Town of Neenah. I agree with everything that Sarah has said. We have all the information to back up what we have been saying, and we're anxious to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bernice. Anyone else like to address the council on any topic? Anyone else? Anyone else? All right. Then I am going to address the council during the public forum portion because we didn't have something, I didn't put something on the agenda. And I'd like to just take a couple minutes here to address something during the public forum portion. So let me just start out by saying every community has its own hometown heroes, people that grew up here and did great things for their community. We also have a lot of transplant folks that they grow up somewhere else and they come back and they find Neenah and they make that their home. And many of those people make a difference in the community. So tonight, we as a council and myself, we want to just take a moment to congratulate and promote one of our own on the council. And there are many great fiction authors in the country. There's J.K. Rowling, Danielle Steele, Stephen King, but here in Neenah, we have our very own author, Christopher Coons. Christopher, congratulations on finishing your first book published and available on Amazon.com. It's soon, I'm sure, to be available at the Neenah Public Library, because I asked. And I'm sure it's also on its way to the bestseller list after this promotion tonight. Alderman Coons, we are very proud of you, and we congratulate you on your book that's entitled Doing Time, a novel by Christopher Coons. So Christopher, at this point, we'd like to do a virtual toast to you and your new book. You ready, guys? 1, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations, Christopher.
Ah.
Anyone else like to say anything at this moment?
I will say,
Well,
go ahead.
I'll
Go
just
ahead.
say that I'm halfway through the book and really enjoying it, so I highly recommend it.
Todd?
I haven't had the chance to start it yet, but it's the next thing I read, so I'm looking forward to it.
Some of
Marge?
us want it to be signed. I don't get too many books signed.
Kathy?
2 books you need to sign. 2. The other one you
All
did.
right. All right. Well, good. Christopher, congratulations. You got anything?
Well, I just want to say thank you. That was a surprise, so I'm not sure what to say, which is unusual for me. But thank you.
You got her. All right. So anyone else in the public forum section? All right. Seeing no one, we'll close the public forum, and we move on to if anyone has any thing that they'd like to say with regards to the comments made in the public forum at this time. Is there any council members who'd like to address anything? I do have one question I'd like to maybe ask Bernice, maybe. It's my understanding, I thought I heard in one of our meetings, we did not have a copy of the covenants. Is that the case, Jim or Adam? Do we have a copy of the covenants? Jim, we didn't hear
What we
you.
can't do is look at the reviews. And buy out.
We don't have a copy of the covenants yet.
Okay, we do not have a copy of the covenants. So we need to get a copy of those. Or Bernice, if you have a copy of them and you'd like to get them to us, we'd appreciate it.
Okay, I do have a copy of it and I can get them for you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have any comments or questions regarding the public forum? Jerry, did you?
Mayor,
Go ahead, Chris.
I believe we may have found a copy in our office. Brad is yelling to me that we've got something up here.
Okay, so we did find it evidently. So, okay, thank you. Thanks, Bernice, for the offer.
Yes.
It appears we have it now. So, okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, see no one else. We will move on then from item number 7 to item number 8, which is the consent agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Alderman Lundrum moves, seconded by Alderman Stevenson to approve the consent agenda. Is there any objection to unanimous consent in approving the consent agenda? Seeing no one, that's so ordered. Item number 9 is the the report of standing committees. The first report is the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of April 28th, 2020. Chairman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 1, committee recommends council approve the purchase of a 2020 Dodge Ram 1500 from Ewald Motors of Oconomowoc in the amount not to exceed $23,850.50, and I would so move.
Second.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Spellman, I believe. Alderman Spellman seconds it. Discussion on the motion. Alderman Bates?
Just to let you know, the budget on that was $30,000.
All right. Thank you. Seeing no discussion, all in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no as your name is called. Clerk Cheslak will do the roll.
Alderman Steele,
Aye. Whoops. Aye.
Boyette,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Coons,
Aye.
Lang,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Spellman. Aye. And Lundrum.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion passes. Thank you. Go ahead.
Item 2, committee recommends council approve the purchase of a 2020 Ford Transit Connect from Bergstrom Ford of Neenah in the amount not to exceed $23,224.50, and the budget on that was $25,000. I would so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Lundrum. Discussion on the purchase of the 2020 Ford Transit Connect from Bergstrom Ford. Any discussion or questions? Alderman Steele.
Yeah, I apologize for not having gone and read all the minutes, but I know I've rented one of these vehicles before, so I know a little bit about them. But what is this for?
Mayor, I am on, if you would like me to address that. Director Kading here.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Steele, will be used by our Superintendent of Recreation. Most of our positions are moving stuff all over the city, whether it's recreation equipment, pool chemicals, pool supplies. So therefore, we felt that it was better to have something of this type of model It's replacing a small S10 pickup truck that with a cap on it. So we just felt that this gave us a little bit better options moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Questions? Seeing none? All in favor of the motion will vote aye. All opposed will vote no as your name is called.
Alderperson Boyette,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Kuhn,
Aye.
Lang,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Spellman,
Aye.
Lendrum,
Aye.
and Steele.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion passes.
Committee recommends council approve the purchase from Vermont Systems Incorporated upgrade to WebTrack registration software and purchase the pass management software in the amount of $11,830. Budget on that was $12,000, and I would so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Boyette.
Landrum.
Lendrum, sorry. Alderman Lendrum, sorry about that. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all in favor vote aye, all opposed vote no, using the roll call as clerk calls your name.
Alderperson Erickson,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Coons,
Aye.
Lang,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Spellman,
Aye.
Lendrum,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
and Boyette.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion passes. Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you for your report, Chairman Bates. Then we move on to item number B, which is the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of April 27, 2020. Chairman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of April 27th, 2020. First item, committee recommends council approve 5 bugles for the Station 31 feasibility study / space needs analysis and concept design for a cost not to exceed $16,750. $15,000 will be used from the 2020 facilities CIP, and the remaining $1,750 to be taken from the Capital Facilities Reserve Fund. And I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Erickson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Stevenson seconds. Any questions or discussion? We had quite a bit of discussion on this in committee. Any other questions anyone has? Alderman Stevenson, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to kind of sum up some of the comments from the committee meeting. I'm supportive of the expenditure here because it will give us the cost to remedy as part of the $16,750 per chief loss. This is chief loss, and that's why I'm supportive of it, so that we can do truly an economic evaluation of this location versus other locations versus transition this current location to a taxable entity, all those kinds of things. But the cost to overcome deficiency that is critical to get, and that's what we'll get.
All right, thank you very much. Any other comments? Alderman Bates.
Thank you, Mayor. So Alderman Stevenson, when you say remedy, that would mean making the current building acceptable?
Well, some of them, and I would defer to the chief or Victor, but I think the HVAC system may never be perfect, but the cost to remedy it to whatever level we can will give us some data to determine whether it's according to Victor, it's never worked. It'll be hard to fix it. Well, okay. How hard and what the cost will be. So to say, yes, if the cost will be to make it perfect, no, it'll give us some costs that we would need to invest if we chose not to build a new station.
Thank you.
Deputy Chief Voss is on the meeting with us. Deputy Chief Voss, you have anything to add?
No, I think Alderman Stevenson summed it up. But what we're really looking for from these two documents is answers, so that if we decide to move forward with anything, we have all good information and a good idea of what is needed to be done to either the existing building, or if it's deemed that it's not a good investment to fix everything that's wrong with this building, then we would have all of the information we need to make a good decision on what to do otherwise. So thank you.
All right, Alderman Coons, go ahead.
Thank you. Just, I guess, one clarification, one comment. It's mentioned that looking at different sites, my understanding was that the price was lower because we were not looking at different sites. We weren't evaluating response time and those issues. We were sticking to this one site only, maybe utilizing the back end of this one site. But just wanted to clarify that one, and also at least my understanding of it. And the other thing is, there was a long debate. I don't want to get back into that long debate, but it certainly, at least in my mind, was not a green light to say, yeah, we're ready to build a new building, and this is the first step. It was merely, I think, a wise maybe choice to at least get more information. And again, much of that information being, how do we deal with the existing building we do have? I'm not convinced that a new building would be correct, but we'll look at the information as it comes in. But I just, from my perspective, it certainly wasn't the first step of a long step of building a new building. I'm not ready to go there, but I'm not afraid of information either. So.
All right, anyone else? I would just like to say this. Alderman Coons is correct. I've talked with the chief with this also. Before I'm ready as the mayor to move forward with a new building there, a case has to be made. And we have to garner all the information on which way would be best to utilize that site building, or if a new building is in order. So I need this study to help provide me hopefully with some of those answers. So before I move forward also, so I want to make that clear. Okay. All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no. As Stephanie Clerk Cheslak calls the roll, please.
Alderperson
Aye.
Coons,
Aye.
Lang,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Spellman,
Aye.
Landrum,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Boyette,
Aye.
and Erickson.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion passes.
The next item on the agenda is the committee recommends council approve ordinance number 2020-03, ordinance number 2020-04, and ordinance number 2020-05, and the petitions for annexations in the town of Neenah to be accepted. And this is to be acted on after the report from the Plan Commission. Item number 3, the committee recommends council approve ordinance number 2020-06 to be approved, and the petition for annexation of 1.35 acres to be accepted, to be acted on after the report from the Plan Commission. And next item is item number 4. The committee recommends council accept the Post Crescent quotation and designate it as the city's official newspaper for June 2020 to June 2021. And item number 5, do we need a vote for that or discussion on that one? I don't see an action.
I presume we need a motion, Jim, and then we'll do a voice vote, or what? Yes? You have
Jim's mic's not working.
your mic isn't working, Jim.
I would assume the council has to take action on that.
Yeah.
Okay, and I so move.
That's correct.
Okay.
Alderman Erickson moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Stevenson seconds to accept the Post Crescent quotation and designate it as the city's official newspaper for June 2020 to June 2021. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? There's one opposed. The record will show there's, Kathy, are you opposed?
Yes.
Okay, 8 ayes, 1 no, that passes. Go ahead, Chairman Erickson.
Item number 5, the committee recommends council ratify policy 2020-04 by Mayor Proclamation 2020-03, and I so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Chairman Erickson, seconded by Alderman Stevenson. Discussion on that. We also have, I believe Lindsay is on the line. If anyone has any questions, we also have Adam on the line to answer any questions. But any questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no. As Clerk Cheslock calls the roll.
Alderperson Coons,
Aye.
Alderperson Lang,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Spellman,
Aye.
Landrum,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Boyette,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
and Bates.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion
And
passes.
that
Thank
concludes my
you.
report.
Thank you very much, Chairman Erickson. Item number 10 is reports of special committees and liaisons and various special project committees. The first report, item number A, is the regular Plan Commission meeting of April 28th, 2020. Council Representative Lang.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting for the Plan Commission meeting that was held on April 28th. The minutes can be found on the city's website. Item number 1, Commission recommends council approve annexation number 216, ordinance 2020-03, and the property also receive an R1 single family residence district zoning classification, and I would so move.
Okay.
There's a motion by Alderman Lang, seconded by who?
Erickson.
Erickson. Alderman Erickson seconds it. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no as your name is called by the clerk.
Alderperson Lang,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Spellman,
Aye.
Landrum,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Boyette,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
and Coons.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion passes. And
Item number 2, Commission recommends council approve annexation number 217, ordinance 2020-04, and the property also receive an R1 single family residence district zoning classification, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lang, seconded by Alderman Stevenson. Any discussion on this annexation request? Seeing Alderman Bates, go ahead.
Thank you. I want to let the callers know that the annexation they were concerned about is not until 219, correct? Mayor?
Yes.
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. Anyone else? Anybody else? Seeing none, all in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no as your name is called by the clerk.
Alderperson Stevenson,
Aye.
Spellman,
Aye.
Landrum,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Boyette,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Coons,
Aye.
and Lang.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion passes.
Item number 3, Commission recommends council approve annexation number 218, ordinance 2020-05, and the property also receive an R1 single family residence district zoning classification, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lang, seconded by Alderman Stevenson.
Second.
Any comments or questions on this annexation? These three were kind of tied together, so separate annexations, but same neighborhood. See no discussion. All in favor, vote aye. All opposed, vote no as your name is called by the clerk.
Alderperson Spellman,
Aye.
Landrum,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Boyette,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Coons,
Aye.
Lang,
Aye.
and Stevenson.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion passes.
Item number 4, Commission recommends council approve annexation, or Commission recommends council approve annexation number 219, ordinance 2020-06, and the property also receive an R1 single family residence district zoning classification, and I would like to move to table that.
Second.
The motion is to table the recommendation, and there's a second. Discussion on tabling the annexation number 219.
It's not debatable.
All in favor of tabling will vote aye as your name is called, or vote no.
Alderperson Landrum,
Aye.
Steele,
Aye.
Boyette,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Coons,
Aye.
Lang,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
and Spellman.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion passes, so that item that some of the speakers during the public forum were interested in, that item is tabled at this time. Item number, thank you very much for your report, Alderman Lang. Item number B is the Board of Public Works meeting of April 29th, 2020. Vice Chairman Bates, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. As a council action, the board recommends council award contract 8-20 epoxy pavement marking to Century Fence Company for the bid in the amount of $56,675.75, with the budget overage to be covered by offsets in the traffic operating budget, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Lang. Any discussion on traffic, on the pavement marking? I'm sorry. Alderman Coons, go ahead, and then Alderman Bates.
I guess two questions. I'm not familiar with the traffic budgeting, operating budget. So I have a question about that, but also looking at more particular, looking at the timeline. Is there a time frame, or is there time restrictions on when they get this done? I ask because so often it seems to me, maybe I'm thinking of this wrong, but we run out of time with some of these things like epoxy and whatever else, and they can't get it done. They wait too long in the year. do we know when they're gonna get this done, or does this get done if they feel like it and maybe get pushed off?
Director Kaiser?
All right, at this point, nothing's scheduled since we don't have a contract awarded. Our experience is that this product goes down better in the summer or very early fall. So getting the award out early, and this is about as early as we normally do it, gives the contractors flexibility to work Neenah in while they're working on other contracts, typically state contracts for pavement marking.
Alderman Coons?
And the traffic, whatever it's called, the traffic operating budget, what's in that? For reserves.
The traffic control budget contains everything related to traffic signals, pavement marking, signing, the wages for the traffic crew. So what the items that we would be looking at reducing purchasing on would be barricading and signing materials, and then some of the traffic control materials, say signal poles or signal heads.
So that's an operating budget, not a capital budget.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Bates.
Thank
and then
you,
Alderman
Mayor.
Stevenson.
And that brings up a point that Director Easker had made, that we could see this in the future coming out of the operating budget. Since the epoxy payment does last 5 to 10 years, it could go into capital.
All right, thank you. Alderman Stevenson, go ahead.
So, page 147 of the operating budget is the traffic control budget. There's a total annual budget of $282,450. There's a line item on there, 0229, maintenance of pavement marking, and that's $50,000. Is this, Jerry or Mike, is this expenditure to be funded from the operating budget?
Yes, it is.
I would assume so. Right.
Yeah.
So this isn't. These aren't borrowed dollars. These aren't capital. These are levy supported dollars, and we're
Correct.
exceeding the budget by 10%. So
Correct.
is that because of more stuff to do, or the higher price to do it per unit?
For the most part, the bid pricing was in line with the estimate that James had developed. The issue that we saw was in the pricing of standard crosswalks and the ladder style crosswalks. The pricing on those two items was about 15% higher than what the DOT average price was last year on those items.
So okay, so it's a unit cost. Well, part of it's a unit cost. Century Fence and Fence Company, have they done this before for us?
They have not been the low bidder in Neenah in quite some time. They did do, they were a subcontractor on the Winneconne Avenue portion of 114 that was built in '97. They're a statewide epoxy contractor, very reliable. They've done very good work. They also happened to purchase the company that used to commonly get our pavement marking contracts.
They acquired them?
They acquired them, yes.
Okay, there's your answer. 10% over.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Alderman Coons, go ahead.
I know I'm probably a little late in the game here, but as we talk about COVID and we talk about budgets, and I know it's early in the stage, but to me, this seems like a perfect opportunity to use capital dollars that come from the infrastructure fund. I mean, we're going to borrow money and we never spend it all in 1 year ever. So we will have the dollars there. And to me, to preserve the operating budget for unknowns, we'll say, and if not, and we don't spend it, it at least goes into our, I forget which fund it's called, but the one that our bond funding people actually look at. They don't care about how much, to some degree, don't care about how much money we have sitting in our carry forwards in capital. They do care about how much we have in our operating that we don't spend and we save each year. And I guess, Mike, am I just way late in the game to suggest something like this and move with this, let me know.
Director Easker, you want to comment on that? Because we did talk about this, Christopher, just so you know, in committee. But Director Easker, go ahead.
You bet. And we certainly did. And I think Alderman Coons, we sort of at that Board of Public Works meeting, you know, kind of took a look at this and thought the same thing, that given the difficulty we have in maintaining our levy dollar options, and so we were always looking for opportunities when we can to use borrowed funds for things that are legitimately fit into the category of capital needs. And I think it was determined at that meeting, or at least that we could consider using capital funds to pay for pavement markings in the future. We did not discuss doing it as part of the 2020 plan, but I don't know that there would be anything to preclude us from shifting those dollars if that was something the council wanted to do.
Have I follow up, might be seeing any negative for doing so at this time?
From my perspective, not.
Alderman Bates, and then Stevenson, and Christopher, if you have a comment. Alderman Bates.
I'll defer right now because I think we're discussing about the capital, using the overages in capital.
Okay, Alderman Stevenson, you have any comments?
Yeah, some serious comments. This is $50,000 annual expenditure. We do this every year, right, Jerry?
That's correct.
So, and we're going to borrow money for 10 years to do, then next year we're going to borrow money at 10 years, and the following year we're going to borrow money for 10 years to do something that truly, by definition, is an operating cost, has a life expectancy of less than a year.
Oh, 5 years.
I would be hard pressed to support utilizing borrowed dollars for something like that.
The pavement marking that we use is epoxy pavement marking, and there we're commonly getting 7, 8 to 10 years out of that material.
So we have so you're saying what we do this year won't have to be done for 7 years?
Yes.
So we're on a 7-year cycle.
That ballpark, I mean, each year James evaluates the markings out on the street network to see if any require work. There are some streets that we've had go beyond 10, and but 7, 8 is a pretty good time frame to think that we'll need to replace them.
Are there any of these payments that are done annually?
No.
Alderman Stevenson, you good right now?
Until I hear somebody say something else.
Alderman Bates.
I want to bring up something that otherwise we discussed in the meeting, was with the consolidation of the companies that have done it in the past. Is it getting to the point where if we only have one bidder, would it be wise for our staff to do it ourselves? And Director Kaiser made the comment that a big part of this would be the equipment involved, and we would only use it a short time, and it's an equipment that I guess needs a lot of maintenance. And the mayor did bring it forward, maybe if we got into a consortium with a couple of other communities that are in the same boat we are. But that was looking forward to see what we could do in the future when we're down to just one bidder.
Thanks for bringing that up, Marge. Yeah, I will say, Christopher, I put it in my notes to have Greg or someone see if Menasha or Appleton would have any interest in forming some partnership or something to do one of these on our own, where we could look at the possibility of utilizing it for 2 or 3 communities. But as Alderman Stevenson points out, you know, you make some great points as far as capital, about this year being a unique year with the operating expenses and that. I think Director Easker has continually talked about how important operating dollars were, levy dollars versus borrowed dollars. But yet, you know, normally, you hope to get 10 years out of things that you borrow money for 10 years, so that they don't outlive their usefulness before they're paid for, so to speak. But they're all very good points. We just, at the end of the day, I think we thought, well, let's do it this way and then talk about it at the next budget session. Alderman Coons. Go ahead.
I was gonna make a motion to amend, but I'm not going to. There's been a lot of conversation here. I would only hope that maybe in the finance department, in the finance committee, we would look at borrowed dollars and operating dollars. My guess is if we look close, we will find several things. I'm going to say like police cars that last 5 years and things that last a lot less than 7 years that we are currently borrowing for instead of levying for, and that we at least look at it globally and make some global decisions. The only question I would ask at this point from Director Easker is, could we sometime later in the year decide that we want to use capital dollars because we need to we need the operating dollars? Can we make that decision later on, or once we've done this, decision's done?
No, we certainly would be able to shift the funding source for this project from operating to capital at the discretion of the council.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Alderman Stevenson, go ahead.
Yeah, just as a follow-up to dovetail on what Alderperson Coons just said. I mean, I agree with the concept that we are in truly unique times. And last week we heard that 87% of our revenues are relatively secure, or 83%, 17% of our revenues are suspect and variable based on things like rec programs and rentals and those kinds of things. I think we always have the option in these unique times, or in any time, to transition borrow dollars to something else to help offset something. And to do it now for this specific buy, and then set the tone for future, I think isn't well thought out. But I agree with Alderperson Kuntz's suggestion that as we go through this and we start seeing modification requests in our budget, let's not forget the option we may have of utilizing borrowed dollars at some point.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one else, there's a motion and a second to award contract 8020, which is the epoxy pavement marking to Century Fence Company for the bid of amount of $56,675.75, with the budget overage to be covered by offsets in the traffic operating budget. All in favor will vote aye. All opposed will vote no, using after Clerk Cheslow calls your name.
All right, Alderperson Steele.
Aye.
Boyette.
Aye.
Erickson.
Wait 1 sec. Aye.
Bates.
Aye.
Coons.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Stevenson.
Aye.
Spellman.
Aye.
And Lundrum.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion passes. Item number B, Board of Public Works. Go ahead.
Board of Public Works recommends council award contract 3-20, street construction on Van Street, Monroe Street, and Gillingham Road, as presented to Summers Construction Company for the low bid in the amount of $736,205, and include alternative number 1 for the construction of Shooting Star Drive for the low bid of $31,980, or in the event that the city and town of Neenah resolve their dispute regarding the extension of Shooting Star and Armstrong, alternative number 2 for the construction of Shooting Star Drive and Armstrong Lane for the low bid of $72,630, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Bates, seconded by Alderman Lang. Discussion. All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor will vote aye, all opposed will vote no as Clerk Cheslock calls your name.
Alderperson Boyette,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Aye.
Lang,
Aye.
Stevenson,
Aye.
Spellman,
Aye.
Landrum,
Aye.
and Steele.
Aye.
Motion carries 9-0.
That motion passes. Thank you.
And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. Item number B is the Landmarks Commission. Alderperson Lang, you have anything for us tonight?
No, there's no report.
Thank you. Neenah, Sustainable Neenah Committee, Alderperson Coons.
I have no report this time.
Thank you. The Neighborhood Group, the Bid Board, Business Improvement District, Alderperson Lang.
I just have a couple of things for the bid board, which last met on April 9th, virtually. The Ultimate Ladies Day that was scheduled for May 30th has been rescheduled for September 12th. Feel like I'm looking at my wrong notes here. I had one other item. Oh, also there was a gift certificate rewards event that happened, and it had a 2-day impact of $25,000 on the downtown district, so that was great. ThedaCare welcomed 300 employees, was welcomed to the downtown as they moved into the towers with 300 employees. And the bid is planning their Employee Appreciation Day, changing that to a summer date, potentially in late June. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Works for Mahler Museum report, Alderperson Spellman.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The last meeting was on April 17th, and the Bergstrom Mahler is having an online exhibition called Form and Feeling, Expressions of Humanity. And that's free for all to view online and view these great glass figures. The Bergstrom Mahler of Glass wants our community to experience art as a universal message of hope and transformation. They are asking for donations from the public. Those who donate $150 will receive a paperweight by Robin Lehman, and those who pledge an additional $150 for the fall fund drive will receive a museum publication coming out later. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Those are all the reports I have tonight. I'll move on to item number 11, presentation of petitions. There are none. Any council directives anyone would like to broach? Seeing none. Any unfinished business by any council member? Unfinished business, Alderman Coons.
Thank you, Mayor. I wonder if it'd be appropriate for the city attorney to maybe explain to me, and maybe I see at least one caller who spoke about Shooting Star, what it means to have tabled the annexation but approved the construction of a road. Would that be appropriate at this point?
Jim, you're we can't hear you, Jim. Do you have your volume turned up?
Do you want? I can answer it.
Okay, Jim, you're gonna have to try your volume on that. Adam, go ahead.
So tabling the motion, all that means is that we're not going to take action. We didn't approve the Armstrong Shooting Star extension tonight. That will be taken up at a different council meeting. The approval of the dollars that you just heard was 2 alternates. So they approved a package. As part of that package, the bidder said, if you end up moving forward with Shooting Star, this is how much that's going to cost. If you end up moving forward with both Shooting Star and Armstrong, this is how much that's going to cost. So approving that only means if the city decide to go forward with one or both of those additional streets, it's already been bid and approved, so we have that locked in, that price. But that doesn't mean that that's happening at this time, just that if it does, that's what we're paying.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else under unfinished business? Then we'll move on to new business. Announcements or questions. I do want to take a moment here and I'll try to be brief, but I do want to say to the citizens that are going to watch this, because we do tape it and put it out, we are operating in unprecedented times, but I want to assure everyone that city government is still working. The city hall may be closed at this time, but it is open for business. As far as the window in the finance department is open daily 9 to 3, where people can conduct business. They can get licenses, they can pay bills, they can do things that they need to get done here at City Hall. All of our offices are, even though they may or may not be working in the building, they are available for phone calls. If you call the office, you will get, chances are, you will get a live voice, because many of the phone lines have been forwarded to employees' homes that are working from home. And if not, you will get a return call. Out on the other aspects of our community resources with regards to police and fire, they've all got plans in place to protect themselves, to protect their shifts. They are responding to calls. I will tell you, the level of service of calls are way down, which is, a positive of, not having people going out at night. Accidents are down. Some calls are down. A few calls are up. Tensions sometimes, now that people are home, there's some domestic calls being done. There's the suicide prevention calls, those types of deals, because people are under the safer at home order, they're spending more time at home. So those types of calls are up. Public Works is doing a lot of work that sometimes they don't get time to do because of other things, but they're collecting your garbage and doing all the things that they do. So a lot of things are happening. The legal department, the finance department is operating. Community development is meeting with developers. Community department is answering questions about fences, and code enforcement is happening. A code enforcement officer is writing orders. So things that we would normally do are still happening. They're happening in a different way. We as staff are meeting regularly to determine, after we know more from the state of Wisconsin and the governor's order about when that's going to be lifted, how are we going to reopen this building? What changes are going to be made? What's going to need to be done to protect our citizens? What's going to be need to be done to protect the workers? We already have a lot of shields, those plexiglass shields that have been built that we had for the election. Those are now a new model. Pat Fisher has come out with a new model, and this is all going to be patented, so the city of Neenah gets royalties. But they are now throughout the building. We are looking at the break room and where people congregate, the elevator, how many people are going to, all those things, questions that have to be answered about how we're gonna look when we reopen this building. So those are all happening. The Park and Rec summer programs are kind of in a holding pattern. It's the intention of the Park and Rec committee department to actually hopefully be able to run some of their summer programs, especially the kids programs, where parents are hopefully counting on that. So they're going to have to be operated at a different way. The Neenah swimming pool at this point, we're just looking at pushing back potentially a start date for the Neenah swimming pool. So a lot of these things, we're waiting to get guidance from the CDC. We're waiting to get guidance from the state of Wisconsin, but I can assure you that we're operating at over 90%. The library is open for drop off and pickup, curbside pickup. You can go to the library, you can call, order that book. They'll meet you, they'll walk out to your car, and they'll give it to you. The city drop-off site is open Monday through Friday, and now it's also open Saturdays. Saturdays, they are doing a brisk business. There's a lot of questions on that with regards to the new access, the green access cards. If you do have a question on the access cards, call Public Works Department. Lisa up there, we're trying to work with homeowners, some people didn't get the cards, or they misplaced it, or they threw it out. Those types of things, we're being somewhat lenient on making sure that people get the proper cards. But the operation of that with these new card systems and the new layout, I can tell you, is working quite well. Just a couple more. I have been in a lot of contacts with Dr. Andrabi. I've sent the council his last communication, but I've also had communication with him since then. And I can tell you that there seems to be some optimism on where we're headed here in the Fox Valley. We did have a little bit of a setback with the Eggers Hardware, VT Industries. They voluntarily have closed for a week. They're planning on opening next week. They had an outbreak within their day shift, but that is being addressed. But with regards to Theta Clark, and testing is getting more readily accessible, I'm told. The beds are not being utilized like they prepared for. Theta Clark has now opened up many of their procedures, and elective procedures are now being done as of Monday. So those things are happening. We did have the Winnebago County, with the DoubleTree Hotel that garnered some questions from residents. They have worked out a deal that if needed, to be a quarantine center in that downtown hotel. At this point, I'm told no one is utilizing that. I do want to put up one more last plug-in. Winnebago County, we are part of a program here at Winnebago County. I wanted to do our own revolving loan fund, but we would have just replicated what Winnebago County is doing through their industrial revenue bonds. I believe they're using $750,000, I believe, to give up to $10,000 for very low interest, 2% loans, deferred till December of this year for any business in Neenah. The small businesses in Neenah that, are having some difficulty, they're, whether it be meeting payroll, paying the electricity, we want those businesses to come back. We want them to succeed, and we want to do everything that we can to help them continue operating whenever they're able to do so. So if any small business out there needs a little assistance, they weren't able to be part of the Federal CARES Act, it's a little cumbersome. There's a lot of things you have to do, but if you need that short-term loan, Winnebago County, we are working through that, and contact Brad Schmidt. Go on the city website. We have a direct link to that application process. It is pretty easy. It is pretty, they meet every week, Thursday, to do loans for the businesses. I can tell you, personally, my family business, we applied for a loan through them, and it was fairly easy to do. And it's enough to get people through these couple of months if they have expenses. So I would like to just make sure that I put a good word in for that. Brad, do you have anything else on that program that you'd like that I missed? I think that's important.
Yeah, like the mayor said, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or to Chris Hayes, the director. We do have information on the program on the community development website. We've shared it on social media a few times as well. So we are trying to get as much information out to local businesses about that program.
Thank you. And they told me yesterday that they are getting Neenah businesses applying for those dollars. So if someone knows someone, direct them to that area. The last thing I'll say is that I wanted to make sure that I'm going to send the council, the state of Wisconsin just put out the the revenue numbers, estimates that they just did, Bob Lang and his crew. You know, no surprises here, but they were projecting a $1.3 billion surplus at the end of the biennium. And that is clearly in jeopardy with revenue collections for the state. The month of April, to give you an idea, the April 2019 versus the April 2020, about $870 million less in revenue for that 1 month alone. The good news is the year to year, April to April, I believe I read where it was up $313 million, which surprised me, but it was projected to be up a lot more than that. So, it is what it is. There are no plans right now. I mean, everyone's concerned about cutting shared revenue, all that. We don't know any of that. We'll know more of that later, but I will send you that report from the Fiscal Bureau, and I'll get that out to everyone. Does anyone have any questions on the multitude of things that I brought up, or anyone else have anything else? Alderman Boyette, then Alderman Stevenson.
I just wanted to announce to the public that the American Legion Auxiliary here in Neenah and the Post, the Legion, they have sent out a message, and I don't know who all gets it, so this is my opportunity to do a public PSA for them. Due to the governor's stay-at-home directive until May 26th, they had a cancellation, of course, of the Memorial Day parade. That includes the waterfront ceremonies as well as Oak Hill services, so those are all canceled. Also, the Badger State Girls is canceled, and the Poppy program and their bake sale has been postponed.
Okay, thank you.
That won't be happening at Lucky Dogs either, so at this time.
All right, thanks for that information. Alderman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Either Mayor or Mike, can you give us an update as to where we are with the 5-year capital plan?
Yeah, I had that on my notes too. So Mike and I talked about that today. I guess we're kind of looking at June, hopefully, that we would, get that process going in that. By then, hopefully, we're meeting in person here back in the building. Mike, you have something to add? But that's what we talked about today.
Right, and again, with obviously, certain things that have a little bit more of a long-term nature have taken a back seat to just trying to get the day-to-day stuff done with sort of the new normal with regard to some people working at home and working in the building and so on. But we have been working with department heads. It has been an ongoing process to get that information into my department. And I think, as the mayor said, we're looking probably more for June to be the month to have the council deliberate on that, as opposed to May. And because the money had already been borrowed for the 2020 group of projects, that it wasn't real time sensitive, but I do believe this is one of those items that, while it wasn't essential in the short term, it certainly is in the near term. And certainly June looks like a much better month, and a month where we should be prepared to send at least the mayor's proposal to the council and begin deliberations on that.
So am I correct though that, well, I mean, the process for creating the 5-year plan has been started. It was started months ago. And I understand with the way we've changed our methodology that it may take an extra month, but we do anticipate it being available to the council and available to approve in first half of June.
Yeah, I would certainly think that we will be prepared, and we will begin deliberations with the mayor and department heads in the next week or so, and that takes a couple of weeks when we'll put together the preliminary packet of the all of the mayor's recommendations on the 5-year plan. I would certainly think you would have that by the end of May, and then we will plan June to have a workshop and have the council approve that hopefully still in the month of June.
So you're talking later in June. Have department heads all responded with their requested actions? In other words, they've submitted what they want in the 5-year plan?
Yes, again, there's still some back and forth with that and with Deb, our office manager, with regard to putting that all together. But for the most part, I think the structure is pretty well in place, and now we're ready to move to the next step soon.
I would only ask that we target, I mean, if we're functioning at 90%, we should be able to get the budget out and available and acted on in early June.
All right, thank you. I will say this, I've mentioned to a couple of them, I wasn't in a hurry because I wanted to see the impact and the effect of what we're going through, but not that it's going to have a huge impact on us for the future, but I was worried about, where that was headed. But yeah, I mean, I get it. We have to get this done at some point, and we've kind of pushed it back because there were other priorities, but you're right. And Mike and I just talked about it today, so good timing. Anything else by anybody? If not, there is one other announcement. The 2020 League of Wisconsin Municipalities Local Government 101 will be held on May 15th, 29th, June 5th, and June 26th as a webinar. Any council member that's interested should complete the form and submit it to the clerk's office no later than May 10th, so registrations can be made. I presume, Stephanie, that's just you can pick one of those dates, or is that all 4 dates?
Correct. It's one of those 4.
So one of those 4 dates. So if you want to do the webinar, let Stephanie know, okay? And then,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Where do we find the form?
That's a great question. I can find it and email it to you all.
Unless you have already.
I have not.
Maybe I will for a webinar.
Stephanie will find it and make sure you get the form, and then you can talk to her. So, so with that, the last thing I wanted to do this Jimmy Fallon and Stephen Colbert impression and just say, all right, one last time, I want to make sure that people understand. Thanks a lot for Christopher to coming and joining us tonight, and make sure you get your copy of the Doing Time novel by Christopher Coons.
In the backside.
All right, now we need to go to, we need to adjourn. I want to entertain a motion to adjourn, and then we'll go back into closed session.
Move to adjourn and go back and reconvene into closed session.
There's a motion by Alderman Lindrum. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Erickson. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you. See you in a few minutes.
Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.